Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So here's another deck profile for you guys today. This time's an update on my Invoked Shaddolls. So I decided to go back to the deck and just kind of like rearrange it a little bit, especially for the Halloween countdown and, just show you what I got this time around. So this time my deck is a 42 card deck and yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's get right down into it. So starting off with the main deck, 3 copies of Alistair. This is your main starter. Generally when you normal summon this card, you can add a invocation directly from your deck to your hand, so that's actually pretty good. And he's also basically a hand trap in his own right for your fusion monsters because it gives them a power boost. So yeah, Alistair, not too bad. And he's recurable too, so yeah, definitely one of the best cards of the deck. For the Shaddolls, 3 Windy. I'm not going to explain too much about these because I've already done this so many times, and everyone should already know what these do. 3 Squamata, 2 Hedgehog. Definitely want to search out all your cards. For the 1-ofs, 1 Beast. Some people like to run this at 2. I personally just prefer 1 because it's kind of a brick. 1 Shaddoll Dragon. I'm actually running Cat Shaddoll Kios now because Kios is a searchable light Shaddoll monster for, especially if you dump Hedgehog into the grave. And it just adds as another light monster for your Il Shaddoll construct. So Kios does have a fairly decent flip effect, but the sending to the grave part is not so great. But again, the fact that it's just a light monster is actually pretty good. So yeah, like I was a little hesitant to running Kios, but it's actually, but I've been convinced to seeing that this card is really not as bad as it seems. Next one, Ariel. The fact that she's a different attribute. She's a 3/1 DD Crow. She just does so much work for this deck. So yeah, Ariel, definitely an amazing card. And that's pretty much it for these Shaddolls. For the only other engines I'm running is 1 Performance Trick Clown. And yes, I am running the Dragoon engine still, so 1 Dark Magician and 1 Red Eyes Black Dragon. So definitely need these. And yeah, now keep in mind the Red Eyes engine is not mandatory. You don't have to run them if you don't want to. I just personally like it because it just adds for more disruption. Moving on, 3 copies of Ash Blossom. This just makes it easier for me to get into Purgatrio, so it's just another means to get to it aside from Almirage. 3 Siphon Gear Gao. Of course, still gotta run the 1 driver, but that's fine. I usually like to use driver for fusion material anyway, so yeah, it's not too bad. And plus, they're light monsters, so that works too. So win-win, right? All right, for the spells, 3 Magical Meltdown. This gives you instant access to your Alistair, so you're essentially playing 3 more Alistairs, technically. 3 copies of Invocation. I was running it at 2 last time, but I'm starting to appreciate it a lot more. So yeah, 3 Invocation. 3 Shaddoll Fusion, since, it is a Shaddoll deck still, so yeah. 3 Il Shaddoll Fusion, which is one of my personal favorites. And for the 1-ofs, 1 Red Eyes Fusion, which you can easily dump with Verte Anaconda, which honestly, you don't even need to do that half the time. Sometimes you could just play it. If you open up, if you hard draw it, just play it right away and just set one of your Shaddoll Fusion monsters, or not Fusion monsters, your Shaddoll main deck monsters, not Fusions, I'm sorry, and just use their flip effects for next turn. 1 Terraforming, 1 Foolish Burial, and for the only traps I'm running is 1 Reshaddoll Incarnation and 1 Shaddoll Schisms. And yeah, Schism's just great because, you essentially get to make Il Shaddoll win it during your opponent's turn. So yeah, definitely something to consider. So yeah, that's all 42 cards. Now moving on to the extra deck. Let's do that real quick. So the extra deck is pretty self-explanatory. Like if you normal summon Alistair, you generally want to go to Almirage, which comes to our first card. And then from Almirage to Gardner, which basically makes Invoked Mechaba live. It makes Purgatrio live, whatever you want. Next, 1 Predaplant Verte Anaconda. I'm also running the Alistair link, which is honestly not mandatory. You don't even have to run this if you choose not to. You can run a Gravity Controller, you can run Lambda, whatever you want. 1 Cross Sheep, and for my link 4, I decided to go with Appaloosa. I was thinking of Borrelsaur, but I was like, you know what? I think Appaloosa is just slightly better right now because you definitely need more monster disruption, especially during this format, because we have a lot of combo-heavy decks, and you need as much disruption possible. So yeah, that's just my preference on that. All right, so for the fusions, and I'm running quite a few of them actually, 2 copies of Il Shaddoll Construct, so definitely the ultimate Foolish Burial aside from Squamata. 2 Winda, my personal favorite out of the 3. Apocalone is just freaking amazing. As soon as it's special summon and not just including the fusion summon, you can target 1 card on the field as long as it's face up, permanently negate its effects, and she can't be destroyed in battle, so which is also nice. Plus, she also has a pretty good effect if she's sent to the graveyard. You can either search a Shaddoll card or recur 1, but you have to discard a card. Non-cost, by the way, so you can still trigger other Shaddoll monsters in your hand. So yeah, Il Shaddoll, App clone definitely worthy of the El Shaddolls. For the Invokes, one Mechaba, one Purgatrio, and last but not least, one Aguides. I decided to cut Kaliga. Kaliga is not bad, but I feel like I didn't really need it anymore, so yeah. Definitely these three will be fine. And of course, for the final fusion monster, one Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Now you're probably wondering, why am I not running Super Poly? Well, Super Poly is really good this format, but it depends on the matchup too, so that's why I decided to side it out instead. So speaking of which, moving on to the side deck, 3 copies in Nibiru, no explanation needed. 1 artifact site, and it's also a light monster too. So 3 artifact sanctum to go with it. And plus, if it gets popped, if any of these get popped, it's a good way just to punish your opponent basically. 2 Twin Twister and a Harpy's Feather Duster. And of course, Super Poly on the side. And I do have 2 targets for it on the side as well. So 1 Starving Venom, 1 Dragon Stapelia. If I feel like the Dragoon engine is just not going to cut it, sometimes I'll go with these. Or if there's just a, like, let's say I don't need one of the Shaddoll monsters or the one of the Invokes, I could just cut one of them, just put in either one of these, and yeah, go from there, you know, like, there's plenty of options to go with. So, yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoy this, and I will catch you guys again next time.